Hey, hopefully this will be a quick video. So I finally upgraded from my 13 Pro to a new 17 Pro, and I was having a really hard time finding a case. I've always ran the Apple leather cases, which have been awesome for me, really nice. I've had this one on my 13 Pro for ages, and it's just awesome. It's perfect. So I wanted to find an alternative to that. I did a ton of research. The big ones I ended up finding were Andar, Ryan London, and then also Nomad and Bullstrap, but Bullstrap was ridiculously expensive and it had this goofy little bowl on it that I didn't want. Plus, this year's version of the Bullstrap looks terrible. I might put a picture in maybe here. Not sure. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. The biggest difference between all of them, honestly, they're pretty similar, was the buttons. So the Ryan London has got a little bit wider buttons, but otherwise are almost the same as the Andar. The Andar ones are kind of dinky though, like in real life whenever you feel them. A little dinky. So the Ryan London ones, in my opinion, feel a little bit nicer. But if you look at them, the Andar ones do have like a more of a chamfer on the edge. Whereas the Ryan London ones are just flat. And then both of them, the buttons stick out kind of far, honestly. The Ryan Londons definitely stick out further, and it's a little more annoying. But they stick out really far compared to the Apple one, which has a recess for them, which is amazing. I love it. And on the side with that, like, you can barely even see them. It's honestly so much nicer. I really wish they'd do that for their cases as well. I'm not sure why they don't. But it's so much nicer actually on the Apple case than either of these. I will say the feel of the buttons on the Ryan London are the most similar to the Apple case. But just how far they stick out is... like, I mean, just look at that. It's like not at all versus a ton. And they absolutely do get caught up on stuff, so... these ones don't get caught up on stuff as much because of the slight chamfer, but they still do. They still stick out significantly further than the Apple leather case, which has been annoying. Both of them have the leather smell. You can see this one's got like the lines from the leather, whereas this one's more perfect, I guess. You can already see where I've used, right off the bat, you can see where I've used a MagSafe or whatever. I guess you can kind of see it on both of them. But I wanted to test that, so I did test that. I'll test it in the video too. But, oh, one of the other big differences. They both have, I think it's aluminum on both of them. This one kind of feels more plastic, but I'm pretty sure they're still both aluminum. This one's definitely aluminum, the ring around the camera, and it's kind of sharp. I don't know if there's a good way for me to show that. That kind of shows it. You see how it comes to a point right here? So whenever you set it on something, it kind of scrapes up against it. Whereas this one's more just rounded. And I think it's still aluminum. It could be plastic. It looks very different. Like, you see what I mean? Like, even the finish on it, like the finish on this one looks to be anodized, I would say. It looks like an anodized finish to me. Whereas this one's kind of more matte. I'm not sure if it's anodized or painted or If I had to guess, I would say painted, because I don't know if they can do a matte anodized, but maybe they can. I'm not positive. But I do think this one seems like it would scratch less things. I'm not sure. It just seems nicer, I guess, personally. It just seems more gentle. I don't know. This one's really pretty sharp. Like, you set it down, it genuinely, I'm worried about it scratching things. As far as fit, they both fit perfectly. You can see the, well, maybe hard to show the camera, but there's like a lip that it pops into. I actually just took this off and it was very difficult to remove. Very difficult to remove. Probably can see it better with this color, maybe. Yeah. You see how there's like a little lip there? All the way around. So it does protect the camera, or the screen. They both protect the camera. I'll pop them on the phones so that you can see that. All right, another one of the differences that I noticed, and I'll have to test it, is this little camera button here. This one's kind of clear. If you see that. Whereas this one's got a cover on it. Not sure if that matters. I haven't actually tested adjusting stuff with it. The buttons both work. All the buttons on this are totally clicky. They feel good. They're really nice. I like them. I'm gonna clean this off though before I put the phones in. Okay. All right. So in order to put it in, I just do it like this and then pop it in. It doesn't actually tell you the correct way to do it. But I mean, it's hard to get in there. Like, that's genuinely, it's difficult to do. But if it's good, if it's really tight around there, doesn't seem to scratch it or anything, which is one of my concerns with it being aluminum. And I've seen a lot of videos of these things getting scratched. These fit nicely. They're lined up pretty well, I think. Overall, I think it's a really good fit. It fits nicely. I actually haven't put this on yet. So this is my first time putting this on here. I'm going to try and do it the same way. It popped in pretty good too, it seems like. Also looks to be a really good fit right there. I actually like this color with the blue a lot better. It looks great. It looks really good. The holes look, if it would focus, maybe even more precise. Slightly smaller, so probably you couldn't use as big of a charger, I think, maybe. Not sure. Yeah, I think slightly smaller. Definitely kind of more precise on the Andar. Tab coming in clutch. Yeah, so you definitely fit a bigger charger over here. But these are, I mean, pretty impressively precise cutouts, to be honest. So far, I've been really impressed with the Andar. The way that the camera control button is in the Andar looks a lot cleaner to me. It just kind of looks like, I don't know, it looks not great the way it's in the Ryan London, the black one. It looks almost like it's peeling around it. Whereas the Andar really looks like it's professionally designed into it. It looks a lot cleaner to me. All right, so now I'm gonna check the magnet. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's not going anywhere with normal use. Even sideways. Dang, that's That's pretty impressive. Yeah, that's really in there. That's good. That did though. That even shook. Wow, the case was really on. That shook this corner out of this. I was shaking the case so hard. It is a little concerning how easily that came out though. I was shaking it pretty hard, but that corner coming out is a little sketch. I guess it's a good time to show you that it does protect the screen. If you set it down, the screen is protected, and so are the cameras. And if you see that. The cameras are more protected on this, but I mean, any amount of protection is really all you need. And the screen also, I think, is maybe a little more protected, but we've also got that little cover on the other one, so that could contribute to that. But they're both protected. The camera button's honestly the biggest concern with this. There's also a softer leather, so that might be part of it. This is notably harder. Like if you squeeze this, it's notably softer. But all right, let me do the magnet on this one. Maybe slightly weaker considering it's a smaller phone and this one held on like crazy. I would say this one's slightly stronger. They're both plenty strong though. I don't think you're ever gonna have a problem with either of them. And this one didn't come out of the case, but I also didn't shake it. Well, it's pretty strong. They're both pretty strong. Let me do the sideways. Yeah, I think they're both plenty strong. This one, I would give the slight edge to this one, to the Andar, but just slightly, just barely, and mainly just because it's a bigger phone. So I feel like it's probably heavier for shaking. It also though leaves a much more noticeable ring, and I don't know if that's the color or the material. I guess probably the color has a lot to do with it. But as soon as I put one on here just once, because I tested it without the phone in it, and it was instant. You could see it. I'd say they're both going to have notable rings, which is a little concerning because I've used this one with a ring like a million times. And you really just can't even see it. All right, well, this comparison's been taking a little bit longer than I had expected. But I guess basically in the end, you're good with either one. I think at the end, I got 20% off on this. So I paid, I think, $61 shipped. And it got here pretty quick considering it came from overseas. They did not charge me any import taxes, which is good. I was a little worried about that. They actually didn't charge tax. Tax was included. I think base price was $77 for this. Base price for this was $65, but then they charged me a whole bunch of fees and shit. And I got 15% off on this. I used a 15% code. And I think at the end, I still ended up paying like $65. So this one ended up being a little more expensive. This one ended up being a little bit cheaper. Without the codes, I think they're about the same. So I think basically it came down to I got 5% more off on this one. They're about the same. I do think this color looks better. And I kind of like the ring better. Maybe this one will be more durable. I'm not sure. Because the finish on this is... I guess it doesn't look anodized to me, but it might be. It's different than the buttons because the buttons are gloss. I do think that the way that these buttons are put in looks better. Mainly the camera one. That camera one's honestly just the biggest difference in general between the two phones. I also noticed it's a lot glossier. I'm not sure why it's a lot glossier. I don't think that's it being dirty. I think it's just genuinely glossier. And I don't know why. If anybody does know why, maybe leave it in the comments. I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's my review in comparison of the Andar Aspen and the Ryan London for the iPhone Pro 17 and 17 Max. I hope this helps anybody. I'm not sure if it's as helpful as I was expecting it to be. There's also a good size comparison, I suppose. Max versus Pro. That's your difference. All right. Anyway, popping in because I forgot to do this. The clickiness of the buttons, you might want to know that. I wanted to know that. So here's the Andar. They're actually really nice. I like these ones. I personally think I like the Andar ones better right off the bat, but oh, and the camera button. Probably just took a bunch of cameras. Ooh, I'm calling emergency. Let's do the camera button on here. Huh. This camera button's actually harder to press than the Ryan London. But other than that, all the other buttons, I think I would say are better on
Double tap to power off.
On here. So yeah, overall, I think the buttons are more clicky, more satisfying to press, I think, on the Andar than the Ryan London. The Londons are a little stiffer and harder, mushier. They do still all have a good click, though. I don't think you'd go wrong with either one. Like, they sound good, they feel good, they're fine. But I think probably I'd give that to the Andar. Overall, I have to say, the Andar has been slightly edging out the Ryan London, I think. I guess over time we'll see how the leather holds up. You've got those two very obvious lines here. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not a leather expert. But yeah, overall, I think I'd probably give it to the Andar. But it's up to you. It's personal opinion on which one's better. I guess it just depends on what you like better. The ring and buttons are pretty much the only difference. And then maybe the softness of the leather. The Ryan London is definitely softer. Whereas the Andar is for sure harder. But anyhow, just popping back in to add the button clickiness. Thanks for watching.